they're like, you gotta get out, you gotta get out.
5 feet of water, so the rescue people came and took us. The water was here, and took us and brought us in the boat, all of us.
We wanted to bring dry clothes for people that were wet, and so far we've given out a lot of shirts, and they're really appreciative of them.
Historic and catastrophic flooding there in Houston as a result of Hurricane Harvey, resulting in a number of rescue missions around the clock in the Houston area. Many folks turning to social media for help in getting out of their homes. There's no relief in sight. The rain will not subside until later this week. And then, of course, some of the rivers and bayous will not be able to decrease their numbers until actually next week. Of course, Harvey dumped a ton of rain. It was a Category 4 hurricane that hit Houston, swamping neighborhoods and highways. Now, the death toll in the Houston area has climbed from 5 to 10. The number could go even higher, with reports of a family getting swept away in a van. There's been more than 30 inches of rain dropping on the area since Thursday. Nearly 500,000 people are expected to request federal aid, with another 30,000 needing emergency shelter. Meteorologists say Harvey re-entered the Gulf and will now head towards East Texas and southwest Louisiana. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has now activated 12,000 members of the Texas National Guard to help with the rescue efforts by boat and helicopter. Now, of course, some folks are saying that the city's mayor, Sylvester Turner, should have called for a mandatory evacuation of the 4th largest city in the country. Now, of course, that's kind of hard when you're talking about moving in excess of 5 million people across the country. Turner says officials are doing everything they can to help thousands of evacuees at the convention center.
The services to meet the needs of people, the services are here. The George R. Brown is here. Their homes are here. The medical care, here. The Red Cross is here. Pharmaceutical services are here. And I am the mayor of the city of Houston, and I can work to meet their needs.
Again, we're talking about folks in excess of 5 million people. Now, keep in mind, part of the problem there is if folks were leaving the city, they can't travel to the east because rain hit places in Baytown and Crosby. And so you would have to literally, if you go into Louisiana, well, that's where the storm is also heading. You also can't travel south because that's where Galveston, Texas is, and that's where the Gulf of Mexico is. And so really the only places folks could travel leaving the Houston area would be going north towards Dallas or going west towards San Antonio. And again, you're talking about even if 10% of the area moved, you're talking about 500,000 people. And so it's a whole lot of folks doing so. Joining us right now is Houston Congressman Al Green. Congressman, again, people are criticizing the mayor, Sylvester Turner, but again, we saw with Hurricane Rita what took place when people fled the city. The first time you had the mandatory evacuation, more people died on the highways trying to leave Houston with Rita than the folks who died thus far in Houston.
It's unfounded criticism. Thank you for having me on the program. My sympathies to those who are in harm's way, and thanks to all the good Samaritans who are helping those who are in harm's way to get out of harm's way. When Rita hit and we had the great exodus, we had over 100 people to lose their lives as they were traversing the highways. There were fights that took place. People had heat strokes. The story is told of persons who were in a bus. These were elderly people, and the bus caught on fire. It was horrific to be out on the roadway without the resources necessary. Gasoline became a problem. Persons were just stalled. You couldn't get emergency vehicles out to them, had to have helicopters. It's unfounded criticism, and I regret that this kind of petty politics has creeped into something as significant as a catastrophic event of this magnitude.
Again, it is a lot of things that are happening there. The amount of rain took folks by surprise. We are seeing folks moving out. I got, of course, my family's on a group me message. My sister and her family, they evacuated to their particular church. We have other people who are moving into various churches. What is the city doing to reach out to church leaders to utilize those facilities as evacuation centers? Because certainly not everyone can get to the George Brown Convention Center or get to the other large facilities there in the city.
Thank you for the question, Roland, because Missouri City is a much smaller area, and I'd like to use it as an example. It's a city that borders on Houston, and when we talk about Houston, we tend to generalize and talk about the entire area. But Missouri City is a smaller community, and there was an emergency evacuation required because of the Brazos River about to overflow. So we had to immediately find a place for people to go. A school opened up, Thurgood Marshall High School, and it opened up at about 4 o'clock. Within a couple of hours, it was filled almost to capacity. Hundreds of people had come in. And what is interesting is when you look at these people, you see people from all walks of life, all ethnicities. Houston is a very diverse city, and you see all of these people cooperating and collaborating, working together in a time of great stress and need. So this was one example. Churches are opening up. Small churches seem to immediately respond. It may be because their parishioners are right in the neighborhood nearby, and they need a place to open up so that they can to get to. So they immediately go to their sanctuary. That's what it is, a sanctuary. So they move to their church, and we've seen a lot of this. I want to let you know that there's tornadic activity, too, that hasn't been talked about a lot out in Missouri City. We lost our district office out there. We have a satellite office, and the tornado hit it. So there's a lot going on in places other than Houston, but obviously we want to communicate that Houston and the surrounding area, people are working together. Samaritans are making a difference.
Congressman, there are a lot of people, of course, who want to give, but many are leery of giving to the American Red Cross because of their history when it comes to spending more on administration than a lot of these disaster areas and holding onto the money. Where are you directing people to give? Is there a particular local-based charity or organization that does a very effective job at distributing resources?
Thank you very much. The mayor has started a fund, and I think that that's a safe place for you to make a deposit if you'd like to.
What fund? What's the name of the fund?
Well, I wish I could tell you the name of it. I just found out about it this morning.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll text Mayor Turner right now to get that, because I do want to be able to give that out, because I know there are a number of celebrities who are also giving money as well, and we're going to detail that in just a moment. And again, it's a matter of being able to help people directly a lot faster than giving to some of the national organizations. Congressman Al Green, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
May I make one additional comment, please, Roland? You're familiar with 288. It's a highway that leaves downtown Houston and moves south out toward Pearland. This highway is completely underwater. And Roland, because you are from Houston, you can appreciate what I'm saying.
Well, first of all, my brother lives there, and my brother lives in Pearland, which that's the only way I can access his home is through 288.
Exactly. That is completely underwater. Now, the highway goes under the grade level, so the streets go over the highway, which means you probably have at least 50 feet of water, a river, moving south from downtown. You have to see this to understand how devastating it is. To see it on television is good. It gives people some sense of it. But when you see things like 288 completely underwater, the area around the medical center underwater, it really can cause you to understand how powerful nature is and how we have to respect it and how we've got to pull together to get through this.
All right, then, Congressman Al Green, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Also, as I said, churches are being opened across the area, but one church in particular has gotten lots of criticism, as Lakewood Church, led by Pastor Joel Osteen. Their decision not to open their church doors was criticized by lots of people. Now, keep in mind, to understand why this matters, Lakewood Church is the former home of the Houston Rockets, formerly known as the Compact Center. It is located really off of I-59 and by by that decision, it's a massive facility. 16,000+ people can be seated in that particular facility. Well, after they were criticized, got ripped by lots of people on social media, they reversed that decision to open their church doors. And so it's been, so again, Joel Osteen under fire, and folks have been blasting the pastor by tweeting photos outside of the venue, showing exactly how that place was not necessarily flooded, even though others said that the church was indeed flooding. And so now they're going to be opening their doors. And Osteen said they're working with an organization called Samaritan's Purse to organize efforts to help those in need. If I'm correct, Samaritan's Purse is the organization of Reverend Franklin Graham. Let's also talk about what is happening when it comes to black celebrities. Many of them are responding to the devastation in Houston by lending their support and challenging their contemporaries to lend a helping hand. First, Beyonce, a native of Houston, is promising to help the city. In a statement released by the Houston Chronicle, she says, quote, "My heart goes out to my hometown, Houston, and I remain in constant prayer for those affected and for the rescuers who have been so brave and determined to do so much to help. I'm working closely with my team at Bay Good, as well as my pastor, who is Rudy Rasmus at St. John's in downtown Houston, to implement a plan to help as many as we can." Also, comedian Kevin Hart took to Instagram, who challenged his celebrity friends to step up and donate, following his lead.
A serious moment right now. I've just been caught up to speed on everything that's going on in Houston with Hurricane Harvey, and this is unbelievable. I think we participated in a lot of challenges on the internet, some meaningful, some meaningless, but we've all done them. I've been a person that's partaken in several of them. At this point, I'm going to start a real challenge. I'm challenging a lot of my celebrity friends to follow my lead in donating $25,000 to Hurricane Harvey, to the Red Cross, okay? At this point, this is a serious matter. I think the people are in bad shape and they need help. I'm going to lead the charge and stepping up in this way. I challenge The Rock, Steve Harvey, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Justin Timberlake, Jerry Seinfeld. And I think when you do it, you all should tag somebody else. $25,000 is coming from me. Prayers go out to Houston.
Kevin Hart later upped his donation to $50,000. Many of them took up the challenge. DJ Khaled, The Rock, T.I., $25,000. Chris Brown, $100,000. Drake, Future, Nicki Minaj, and Jeezy among the many who have answered that particular call. Donations have been pledged by Houston sports celebrities, including James Harden, Chris Paul, Eric Gordon, along with Houston Rockets owner Leslie Alexander and Jim Crane, owner of the Houston Astros, pledging upwards of $4 million. Houston Texans J.J. Watt, his charity has raised, first of all, it was $500,000. They raised it to $1 million because of the outpouring. And also Bob McNair, owner of the Houston Texans, has also pledged support. Many celebrities in music and sports and entertainment are moving action to this cause. I want to go to our panel. Dr. Avis Jones-DeWeaver, leadership strategist and author of How Exceptional Black Women Lead. Brandon Cooper, chairman of the Prince George's County Republican Party. First of all, what's interesting here is that the backlash, it's been very interesting how many people have been responding quickly, how they do not want to give to the Red Cross. Yeah. Historically, that has been the organization folks reached out to, engaged to, but they've had lots of criticism over the past decade when it came to raising funds in crisis, but holding on to those funds later when people said, no, I gave to this particular cause right here. And so just your thoughts about how people lose faith in traditional organizations.
Mm-hmm. And that's very real. I know that following what happened in Haiti, following what happened in terms of Katrina, I know I would not personally give a dime to the Red Cross. I am looking for other opportunities. And so I'm really happy to hear about the fact that the mayor of Houston is organizing a new entity where I can be more confident that my donations will go directly to the people in need. And I think that's really what we all want in a moment like this.
Yeah, I think whenever there's a monopoly, people get distrusted. It got so big. Red Cross has been the go-to organization for a long time, but you're right. There are many organizations that do work. After they've done in Haiti, I agree, it's pretty hard for you to have trust in that organization. I know I'm from Ohio, so we don't deal with hurricanes. Mm-hmm. We do a tornado. And Red Cross often does the good thing. So let's not say that they don't do anything great at all, but definitely there's been a lot of questions, legitimate questions about their work. And I'm glad there's other organizations that are able to feed money to.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know the Southern Baptist Convention, they have have a disaster relief group, and I actually ran into them when I was covering Hurricane Andrew in 1992 in Louisiana, where they literally bring in their massive trucks and they're kicking out pancakes and fixing breakfast, lunch, and dinner for folks. And so they have a very strong response. And so what we're going to also do is look at some of the other organizations out there. I got to find out if Tom Joyner has his fund, because when they had, of course, 9/11, they had a disaster relief fund that provided money directly to individuals, as opposed to trying to go through all of the red tape with different organizations. And so we'll find that out, folks.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no.
That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.